The market was loud and full of smoke. Creatures from many planets walked through the dusty lanes. They talked, they shouted, they bargained. It was not a normal market. This was a black market on the edge of the galaxy. They did not sell food, clothes, or machines here. They sold weapons, poisons, rare animals, and sometimes living beings. Today, one of those beings was a young human girl. Her name was Alara. She was locked in a cold metal cage. Chains held her hands and feet. She wore dirty clothes. Her hair was tangled. Her eyes looked tired. Her face was pale. She had not eaten properly for days. She did not cry anymore. She had no tears left. Alara had been taken from her home planet 3 weeks ago. A group of alien hunters had raided her small town. They had taken humans like animals. Some were sold as pets, some as workers, but unlucky ones like her were sold as meat. The auction stage was made of steel plates. It was in the center of the market. Around it, dozens of aliens gathered. Some had sharp teeth, others had slimy skin. All of them looked at Alara like she was food. The auctioneer was a fat green alien with 4 eyes and a long neck. He stood proudly next to her cage. Fresh meat. He shouted, "Rare human girl." Young, healthy, and strong. Alara looked down. She did not want to see their faces. She did not want to hear their offers. 10 credits. Shouted a red-eyed alien. 15, said another with tentacles. 25, barked one from the back. Each offer felt like a knife in Alara's chest. They were not talking about a thing. They were talking about her. She was being sold by the kilo, like meat in a butcher's shop. Then, the crowd suddenly became silent. A new figure was walking toward the stage, tall, slow, calm. He wore a dark brown cloak with a hood. His face was hidden, but something about him felt strange. He didn't move like the other aliens. He didn't look at Alara like she was meat. He looked at her like she was a person. The auctioneer blinked with all 4 eyes. "You wish to make a bid, stranger?" The man nodded. His voice was calm but strong. 100 credits, he said. The crowd gasped. Some laughed, some whispered. That was 4 times more than the last bid. Even the red-eyed aliens stepped back. The auctioneer was surprised, but happy. Sold. He shouted. He opened the cage with a loud click. Alara did not move. She was shaking. Her legs felt weak. She had never seen this man before. Why would a human buy her? Was he going to hurt her too? The man stepped closer. He knelt down so they were at the same eye level. He didn't smile, but his voice was soft. "You're coming home with me," he whispered. Alara's eyes widened. She wanted to speak, but her voice didn't come out. The man gently took off her chains. He didn't pull her or push her. He just stood up and waited. Alara stood slowly. Her legs hurt, but she followed him. She didn't know why. She didn't trust him yet, but something inside her said this man was different. They walked through the market in silence. Aliens stared at them, but no one stopped them. The man's steps were steady. Alara walked beside him like a lost shadow. They reached a small ship at the edge of the market. It was quiet and simple. He opened the door and let her go in first. Inside, the lights were warm. The air was clean. It didn't smell like blood or smoke. It smelled like hope. He sat down. Across from her, "You're safe now," he said. Alara finally found her voice. "Who are you?" she asked. He looked at her and said just one word. "Family." Alara didn't understand. But her heart felt something. A spark. A small fire. For the first time in many days, she felt like maybe, just maybe, she was not alone. Alara sat on the ship's soft bench. Her hands were free, but her mind was not. She kept looking at the man across from her. He had removed his hood now. Yes, he was human. But she had never seen him before. He looked around 30, dark hair, short beard. A scar on his left cheek. His eyes were calm but sharp, like he had seen many battles and didn't fear more. Elara wrapped her arms around her knees. Her voice was low. "Why did you buy me?" The man didn't answer right away. He pressed some buttons on the control panel. The engines hummed softly. Outside the windows, stars moved as the ship flew through space. Only then he turned to her. "My name is Yalin," he said. "I came to that market for a reason, not for you but to save people like you." Elara blinked. She didn't know if she could believe him. People had lied to her before. Save people, she asked. He nodded. "There's a group of us, humans, rebels. We rescue humans who've been taken by slavers and meat dealers. You're not the first, but I hope you're not the last we save." Elara stared at the floor. She wanted to believe, but part of her heart was still broken. Still scared, she stood up suddenly. Yalin didn't stop her. She walked slowly toward the back of the ship. There was a small hallway, a locked door, and a bathroom. Elara opened a cabinet, saw food, water, clean clothes. She touched them like they were gold. Then she saw something strange, a small necklace hanging from a hook. A silver chain with a glass pendant. Her heart jumped. She knew this necklace. It was the same one her older brother used to wear before the alien raiders took him. She grabbed it and ran back. "Where did you get this?" she shouted. Yalin stood slowly. His voice was careful now. "That belonged to a boy named Kalen. I found it in a prison camp last year. I couldn't save him. He was already gone." Elira's knees gave out. She fell to the floor. Tears came at last, not from fear, but from pain. "Kalen was my brother," she whispered. Yalin walked over. He sat on the floor next to her. "I'm sorry," he said. He was brave. He helped others escape, even when he couldn't. He gave me names. Told me to find his sister if I could. Elara couldn't stop crying. Her body shook, but inside her chest, a new feeling began to grow. Not just grief, something else. A small flame. Like the start of purpose, the ship beeped softly. Yalin stood up again and walked to the control panel. "We're almost there," he said. "There's someone I want you to meet." Elara wiped her face and followed him. The ship landed near a mountain cave. The area was quiet, hidden, protected by energy fields. They walked down a path into the cave. Inside was a hidden human base. Not big, but busy. Men, women, even kids. All humans, all survivors. Some had cybernetic arms, others scars on their faces, but all had the same fire in their eyes. They were fighters. A woman in a pilot suit walked over. "New rescue?" she asked, smiling at Elara. Yalin nodded. "This is Elara. She's Kalen's sister." The woman's smile faded into deep respect. "I fought beside him once," she said. "He was brave." Elara didn't know what to say, so she just nodded. Her heart still ached, but now she was not alone. Yalin showed her around the base. They had food, beds, even a small school. But most of all, they had a mission, on a screen in the command room. There was a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked slave markets and enemy camps. Every red dot was a place like the one Elara had been trapped in. She looked at the screen. She clenched her fists. "How many humans are still out there?" she asked. "Thousands," Yalin said. "Maybe more." Elara took a deep breath. Her voice was soft, but strong. "Then we need to save them." Yalin smiled for the first time. "You sound like your brother." The room fell silent for a moment. Elara looked at the necklace in her hand. She put it around her neck. She stood straighter, stronger. The girl who was once sold as meat was now standing in a rebel base, not as a prisoner, but as a future warrior. Elara sat on the edge of her new bed. It was soft, warm, and clean. She had not felt a bed like this in weeks. Still, she couldn't sleep. Her mind was full of questions. Who were these people? Why did they risk their lives to save strangers? She looked at the necklace around her neck. Her brother's necklace, Kaylin, had died trying to help others. Now she was in a place full of people just like him. They were called the Ember Line, a hidden rebel group of humans. Their mission was simple: find every stolen human and bring them home. The next morning, Ilara walked into the training hall. Yalan was there, along with a few others. He waved her over. "I want you to meet the team." He said, "This is Ray." A woman with cybernetic eyes nodded at her. "And that's Darrow." A big man with burn scars raised a hand. "And this is Nico," a young boy, maybe just 16, gave her a small smile. "We're all survivors," Yolan said. "Each of us was once in a cage like you." Ilara felt her chest tighten. These people understood her pain. She was not alone here. "Do you want to help us?" Ray asked. Ilara nodded, without thinking. "Yes," she said. "I want to fight back." Yalan smiled. "Then let's start training." The next few days were tough. Ilara learned how to shoot a stun blaster. She learned how to read alien maps. She learned to move quietly, to hide in the shadows. Ray taught her how to spot hidden cameras. Darrow showed her how to break chains. Nico helped her with hacking. Every lesson made her stronger. Every bruise reminded her she was not meat anymore. She was a fighter now. Her body ached at night, but her spirit grew sharp. One evening, while the group sat around a small fire in the base, Yalan shared a new mission. "We found another market," he said, "a big one, on the planet Kurox 5. Over 100 humans are there, being sold in cages." The room fell silent. Then Ray spoke. "We'll need a team to go in, steal the codes, and break the locks." Yalan turned to Ilara. "You know how it feels to be in that cage," he said. "Do you want to come with us?" Ilara's heart raced. It was dangerous. It could be a trap. But she remembered her brother. She remembered the cold cage, the alien eyes staring at her. And she said, yes. The next day, the team prepared for the mission. They packed weapons, maps, energy cloaks, and food. Yalan gave Ilara a special bracelet. "If you get lost, press this," he said. "It will send your location to us." The ship they used was small, fast, and silent, painted black to blend with space. Ilara looked out the window as they flew. Stars moved like rivers of light. She felt scared, but also ready. When they landed on Kurox 5, it was night. The air was thick and humid. The market was built inside an old metal factory. Red lights glowed above the doors. Guards with laser rifles walked back and forth. They moved quietly. Nico hacked the door panel. Ray used a small mirror to check corners inside. The place was even worse than Ilara remembered. The smell of oil and blood filled the air. Cages lined the walls. Humans of all ages sat inside, dirty and weak. Ilara saw a little girl, no older than 6. She was crying softly. Ilara's hands curled into fists. "We have to be fast," whispered Yalan. "We don't have much time." They split into teams. Ray and Darrow went to disable the guards. Nico and Ilara headed for the control room. The hallway was long and narrow. Ilara kept her eyes open. Every sound made her heart jump at the end of the hall. They found the main control room. Inside was one alien guard, tall, blue and sleepy. Ilara looked at Nico. He nodded. She stepped forward and fired her stun blaster. The alien dropped like a rock. Nico rushed to the console. "Give me a minute," he said. Ilara stood by the door, watching for danger. Her hands were shaking, but her aim was steady. "Got it?" Nico whispered. All cages unlocked. Back in the main room, the cages opened with a loud click. People looked around, confused and scared. Ilara ran to them. "We're here to help," she said. "You're free." The guards outside started shouting. Ray's voice came through the radio. "Time to go. We've been spotted." Yalan and Darrow led the prisoners out. Elra picked up the little crying girl and held her close. "You're safe now," she whispered. They all ran toward the ship. Blasters fired behind them, but the team covered each other one by one. They climbed aboard as the ship took off. Alara looked out the window. The market burned behind them, not with fire, but with justice. She sat down, holding the little girl. Tears rolled down her face, not from fear, but from pride. Alara had gone back to the same place where she was sold, but this time she was not a prisoner. She was the rescuer. The stars outside the ship looked peaceful, but inside, Ilara's heart was heavy. She sat in silence, holding the little girl they had rescued. Dozens of other survivors were resting in sleeping pods. Some were still in shock. Some had bruises and cuts, but all of them were free. Yolan stood near the window, arms crossed. His face was calm, but Alara could feel the storm inside him. "We saved 67 people," he said, "but we left hundreds more behind." Ilara nodded slowly. "I know," she whispered. "But we'll go back." The ship returned to the Emberline base. As soon as they landed, medics came running. They treated wounds, gave food, and offered warm blankets. The little girl who had clung to Alara was now smiling and eating soup. Alara felt a small moment of peace, but it didn't last long. The next day, Yalan called a meeting. The command room was quiet. Ray, Darrow, Nico, and Alara stood around a glowing table with a 3D map. "This isn't over," Yolan said. "The market on Kurox 5 is just one piece of something bigger." He touched the screen. Several red dots lit up on different planets. These are locations where humans are still being sold. Some are secret labs, others are transport hubs, but they all connect to the same name, Drexel Syndicate. Ilara narrowed her eyes. "Who are they?" "A network of alien traders," Ray answered. "They hunt humans and sell them to rich collectors, labs, and meat houses. They control over half of the human slave trade in this part of the galaxy." Yalan leaned in. "We finally found the heart of their systema, place called Varric's Core. It's not a market, it's a fortress. It's where they break the strong ones, erase memories, and train humans to obey." A cold chill ran through the room. Darrow grunted. "Sounds like hell." "It is," Yalan said. "But that's where we strike next." Ilara didn't blink. Her voice was clear. "I'm in." No one argued. Everyone knew what was at stake. This mission would not just free people, it would destroy the system that hurt them all for days. They planned every step. Nico found stolen access codes. Ray designed a path through the fortress tunnels. Darrow prepared heavy weapons. Alara trained harder than ever before. She wanted to be ready. She needed to be. Finally, the day came. They boarded a stealth ship and entered enemy space. The journey was long and silent. No one joked, no one smiled. Everyone focused. Everyone knew they might not come back. Varric's Core was built inside an asteroid. Its walls were black steel, covered with cameras and turrets. No windows, no light, only pain inside. Nico hacked the outer gate. They flew in under fake ID codes. Once inside, the team wore Drexel Guard uniforms. They moved like shadows through the tunnels. Alara walked beside Yolan, her heart racing, but her face showed no fear. She had faced cages before. She would not break again. They reached the prisoner area. Glass walls showed rows of humans locked in stasis pods. Their eyes were closed, their bodies still. Machines whispered beside them, draining their memories. Alara's stomach turned. "We have to stop this," she said. Yalan nodded. "We will." Nico plugged into the control system. "Give me 5 minutes," he said. Ray and Darrow stood guard, watching every hallway. Ilara and Yalan moved toward the control room. Inside, 2 Drexel commanders were arguing. Ilara didn't wait. She raised her blaster and fired. One dropped, The other tried to escape. Yalan tackled him, knocking him out cold. They took over the system. Nico's voice came through the comm. All doors unlocked. I'm releasing. The pods now all around the fortress. Pods hissed open. Humans woke up. Confused and weak, some cried, some screamed. But hope was alive again. Alarms rang, the Drexel guards were coming, dozens of them, armed and angry. We have to fight our way out, Darrow said. No choice now. Blaster fire lit up the tunnels. Elara fought beside Yalan, Ray, and Darrow. She moved fast, aimed true. Each shot was a promise, we are not slaves. They led the freed humans through escape routes. Some had to be carried. Others ran with tears in their eyes. Elara found herself holding a teenage boy's hand. Keep going, she told him. You're free now. The group reached the hangar. But the Drexel ships blocked their path. Elara's team fought fiercely. Explosions rocked the walls. Smoke filled the air. Then, suddenly, a new ship appeared, one of theirs. Backup had arrived. More rebels, more firepower. They cleared the path. Everyone rushed aboard. Elara was the last one to climb in. She turned and looked back at the fortress. And for a moment, she saw it, not just a prison, but the place where her strength was born. The doors closed. The ship jumped into light speed. Cheers filled the cabin. People laughed and cried. They were going home. Elara sat down, her body tired, spirit burning. She looked at Yalan. We did it, she whispered. He smiled. No, he said, you did. The stars outside the window looked brighter than ever. Inside the ship, people were cheering, hugging, crying, smiling. They were survivors, no longer prisoners, but Elara sat quietly. Her heart was full, but her mission wasn't over. Yalan stood beside her. His hand rested gently on her shoulder. We freed over 200 this time, he said. You were the heart of this mission. Elara looked up. There are still more, she whispered. Still cages out there. Still children waiting to be rescued. Yalan nodded. Yes, he said. But we did something bigger today. We hit the Drexel Syndicate where it hurts. They won't forget us. As the ship docked at the Emberline base, alarms began to beep. Red lights flashed in the hallway. Everyone stopped. Ray ran to the control screen. A hologram appeared. An alien, cold blue skin, silver armor, snake-like eyes. He spoke in a deep, hissing voice. You have stolen from the Drexel Syndicate. You will pay. We are coming. Then the message ended. The room went silent. Ray turned to the team. They found us. Darrow stepped forward. How long do we have? Hours, said Nico, checking the scanner. Maybe less. Elara stood, her voice steady. Then we fight. Yalan smiled, not with joy, but with respect. He looked around the room. All of you have a choice, he said. You can leave. Or you can stay and defend this place. But know this, if we win today, we don't just save ourselves. We send a message to every human still in chains. No one left, everyone stayed. They started preparing. Weapons were handed out. Defenses were set up. They reinforced doors, connected traps, and hid escape paths for the young and injured. Elara put on armor for the first time. It wasn't heavy, but it felt powerful. Not because of what it was made of, but because of what it meant. She was no longer a girl in chains. She was a protector. The Drexel ships arrived like a black storm. Fast, silent, deadly, hundreds of them surrounding the base. Yalan gave one last command. No surrender. The first blast hit the outer wall. The base shook. Then the battle began. Lasers lit up the dark sky. Sparks flew. Smoke rose. Elara fired from behind cover. Her aim was sharp. Her heart was steady. She saw Ray take down 3 enemies in one shot. Darrow lifted a fallen beam off a trapped child. Nico disabled an enemy drone with a homemade virus. But then the main gate exploded. A Drexel commander walked in twice the size of a human. Metal spikes on his arms, glowing red eyes. Ilara ran to face him. "You took everything from me," she shouted. He laughed, a cruel sound. "You were born to be meat." He growled. "You're nothing." Ilara didn't step back. She raised her blaster, but he was too fast. He knocked it from her hand, grabbed her throat, lifted her off the ground. Everything went quiet. Pain filled her body, but inside, something stronger rose. She reached into her pocket and pressed the button on her bracelet. The shock pulse activated meant to knock out tech systems nearby. The commander's armor sparked and froze. He dropped her. She landed hard, but rolled and grabbed a broken pipe. With one swing, she stabbed it into his chest. He fell, metal groaning. The room exploded with cheers. Lun helped her up. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded, bruised but alive. The remaining Drexel began to fall back. Their leaders were dead, their power broken. As the last enemy ship flew away, the base was quiet again, burned. Damaged but still standing, they had won. Ilara walked to the center of the base. All eyes turned to her. She looked at the freed humans, the fighters, the children. And she said, loud and clear, "We are not meat. We are not slaves. We are not weak. We are human." Cheers filled the air. Some cried, others clapped, but all felt the truth in her words. That night, a message was sent to every rebel cell across the galaxy. The Drexel had fallen, the Ember Line had risen, and leading them was a girl who once sat in a cage. Now she was a flame the galaxy would never forget. Her name was Ilara. And she had become more than a survivor. She had become a legend. Asterisk, the smoke from the final battle had cleared. The stars above the Ember Line base were calm again, but deep. Underground, in the command room, a new kind of storm was forming. Ilara stood beside Yalan. Staring at the screen, it was a transmission not from an enemy, but from a neutral system. A voice echoed from the speaker, low and strange. "This is General Rith of the Halari Republic. We have received your signal. We did not know humans were being sold. We demand answers from the Drexel and their allies." Yalan crossed his arms. "If the Halari speak out, others will follow," he said. Ray nodded. "But that also means war." Ilara looked at the blinking red dots on the map. Markets, labs, factories, places still running, still hurting humans. "This was just the first strike," she said. "We shook the Drexel, but we didn't break the system." Nico pulled up a new data set. "I cracked a Drexel archive before we escaped," he said. "There's something else, someone else." He typed fast, and a face appeared on the screen. Cold eyes, purple skin, wearing a suit of black armor. "Name: Salex Vor," Nico said. "He's not just another slaver. He funds the Drexel. He trains their leaders. He designs their prison systems. And he's human." The room fell silent. Ilara stepped forward. "Human." Ilan nodded slowly. "He betrayed his own kind. He profits from our suffering." Ilara's fists clenched. "Then he's worse than them." The rebels spent the next 3 days gathering intel. They learned that Salex IV wasn't hiding. He ruled a private station called Spire 9, floating between two gas giants, protected by private guards and hired killers. He didn't sell humans directly. He did something colder. He'd built the machines that erased memories. He designed shock collars and obedience chips. He didn't just sell bodies. He destroyed souls. "We have to go there," Ilara said. "Not just to stop him, but to show the galaxy what he is." Yalan looked unsure. "It's suicide," he said. "His station is heavily protected. No one has broken in, not even the best bounty." Hunter's Ilara's voice didn't shake. "Then we'll be the first." They began building a plan. They couldn't go in as Rebels 4 would recognize them, So they needed a cover, a fake crew, a fake ship. A fake mission. Ray contacted an old friend, a smuggler named Zach. Zach was rough, loud, and always chewing some alien root. But he owed Ray a favor, and he had something they needed, an old cargo ship that used to fly under the Drexel flag. They cleaned it up, rewired the engines, and loaded fake crates inside the crates' weapons. Stun drones, tech tools, and hidden cameras. Ilara changed her look, dark hair cut short, scars painted on her arms, a tattoo that marked her as a handler. Yalin, Ray, and Nico played their parts too. They acted like loyal traders, working for the Drexel. Their mission: deliver a special package to Salex 4. That package was Ilara herself. She didn't like the plan, but she agreed. She had once been in a cage. Now she would use that memory to walk into the lion's den as they neared Spire 9. The station came into view. It was shaped like a black needle, floating between gas clouds. Energy beams ran along its edges. It was quiet, cold, and deadly. Zake spoke over the comms, transmitting fake credentials now. There was a long pause. Then a robotic voice replied, "Docking permission granted." Ilara looked at Yolan. "Once I'm inside," she said, "you make your move." He nodded. "Be careful." Ilara walked off the ship with 2 fake guards behind her. Her wrists were chained, but not locked. Her head was bowed, but her eyes watched everything. Spire 9 was worse than she imagined. Clean walls, soft lights, but the silence was cold. No joy, no music, no life, just control. She was led to a private chamber. There, sitting in a silver chair, was Salex 4. He looked calm, almost bored. He scanned her face and said, "You look familiar?" Ilara didn't speak. He walked around her slowly. "You know, most of them cry," he said, "but you don't look scared." She met his eyes, and for just 1 second, she smiled. "I'm not here to be afraid," she said. "I'm here to end you." Before he could react, she activated the chip hidden in her collar. A pulse burst out, disabling nearby cameras and unlocking her chains. Outside, alarms rang. Yolan and the team had taken control of the docking bay. They were moving fast, floor by floor. Inside the chamber, Ilara fought with all her strength. Vor tried to run, but she tackled him. He pulled a knife, she blocked it and struck back. She had trained for this moment. Not just to kill him, but to show him what a free human could do within minutes. The station was under rebel control. They broadcast a message across the sector showing Vor's face, his crimes, his betrayal. The galaxy watched, and something began to shift. Not just a battle, not just a mission, but a movement. The war was no longer hidden. It had a voice. It had a leader. And her name was Ilara. The galaxy watched in silence. The image of Salex Vor, the human traitor, spread across every known system. He was once respected, now exposed. The truth burned through the networks like wildfire. Ilara had done what no one thought possible. She had entered the enemy's stronghold and walked out a hero. But peace does not come easy. Victory brings enemies. And in the shadows, someone was watching. Back at the Emberline base, the mood was tense. Rebel ships returned, some damaged, some missing, but many were alive. They had made a dent in the Drexel machine. Ilara stood in the command room, her armor scratched, her face tired. She looked at the map, more red dots turning gray. It meant success, markets falling, prisoners freed, syndicates collapsing. But Yalin was quiet. He had received a message from a source deep inside the Galactic Council. He waited until Ilara was alone. Then he told her, "There's a price on your head now." Ilara raised an eyebrow. "By the Drexel." Yalin shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "By humans." She froze. "What do you mean?" Yalin took out a small chip and slid it across the table. Ilara plugged it into the projector. A hologram appeared, showing a meeting room fancy. Clean and cold, inside sat human leaders from different colonies. Some were rich traders, others were political figures. One man spoke. "She's dangerous," he said. "She's waking up the galaxy. If the Drexel fall, we lose our deals. She must be stopped." Ilara's jaw tightened, so it was true. Not all humans wanted freedom. Some benefited from slavery, some grew rich, while others were sold in chains. Who leaked this? She asked. Yalone hesitated. "I can't say." Ilara stepped closer, her voice low. "Yalone, we need to know." Before he could speak, the alarms rang. Red lights flashed. A voice came through the intercom. "Breach in Sector 3. They ran toward the hallway, weapons ready. But when they reached Sector 3, was empty. No signs of entry, no explosions, no enemies. Just one missing item, the archive crystal that held all mission data, codes, names of rebels, and safe houses. It was gone. "Someone inside the base stole it," Ray said. "Someone betrayed us." Ilara looked around, her chest heavy. "We need to find out who," she said, for the next 2 days. No one slept. The base turned cold, quiet, and suspicious. Trust faded. Eyes watched every move. Nico checked every access log. Darrow questioned. Every guard, Ray locked down all ships, but there was no sign of the thief. Until the third night, a message appeared on every screen in the base. It was not a warning, it was a mockery. The screen showed Salix 4, still bruised, but smiling. "Did you think I worked alone?" He said, "You freed a few cages, burned a few ships. But the system is deeper than you know. One of yours came to me willingly. Because even heroes can be hunted." Then the message ended. No name, no face, just fear. Ilara sat in the dark, her hands trembled. Not from fear of dying, but from fear of being betrayed. Yalan entered quietly. He sat beside her. "We'll find the rat," he said, "but you need rest." Ilara shook her head. "No," she said. "This isn't about one traitor. This is about the rot beneath the surface. There are humans who never wanted freedom. They just wanted power." Yalan looked down. "I've seen it too," he said, "before I joined the Ember Line. I worked security for a trade group. I thought I was protecting cargo. Turns out, I was guarding cages." Ilara turned to him. "Why did you stop?" He paused. "One day, a little girl looked at me from behind bars. She didn't cry, didn't speak. She just stared like she knew I had the power to open the door and chose not to. So I opened it." Ilara closed her eyes. The fire inside her still burned, but now it burned cleaner. Not just with rage, but with purpose. "We won't just fight aliens now," she said. "We'll fight anyone who keeps humans in chains, even if they look like us." The next morning, the Ember Line began a new mission. They started scanning internal logs for patterns, looking for false orders, hidden messages, backdoor codes. They would find the betrayer. But more importantly, they would build a movement bigger than the war. A cause, not just a rebellion. Ilara stood on the landing pad, watching new recruits arrive. Some were dirty, some wounded, all were ready. She looked at the stars and whispered, "We're not done yet."